Today I'm announcing that my office has obtained a 3-count indictment charging Senator Robert Menendez, his wife Nadine Menendez, and 3 New Jersey businessmen, Wael Hannah, Jose Uribe, and Fred Davies, for bribery offenses. The investigation that led to these charges has been run out of the Southern District of New York. The indictment alleges that between 2018 and 2022, Senator Menendez, the senior U.S. Senator from New Jersey and the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and his wife Nadine Menendez, engaged in a corrupt relationship with Hannah, Uribe, and Davies. The indictment alleges that through that relationship, the senator and his wife accepted hundreds of thousands of dollars of bribes in exchange for Senator Menendez using his power and influence to protect and to enrich those businessmen and to benefit the government of Egypt.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about a fascinating story involving Democrat Senator Bob Menendez, who is facing a federal indictment on bribery charges because this guy allegedly accepted bribes from business partners and participated in a play-for-pay scheme that ended up benefiting the government of Egypt. And these activities were allegedly facilitated by 3 New Jersey businessmen by the name of Wael Hannah, Jose Uribe, and Fred Davies. Okay, and again, these businessmen helped facilitate the bribes and the pay-to-play scheme that was happening between them and this senator and the Egyptian government, allegedly. Now, does that sound familiar to you guys? Yeah, it should sound familiar because those are essentially the allegations that are against Joe Biden, okay? That Joe Biden participated in a pay-to-play scheme that benefited foreign businesses such as Burisma, and he did that through his son. Now, the difference between Joe Biden's case and this case is that this guy, Bob Menendez, right, was so overt about his corruption and his bribery that even the feds was like, yo, this is too obvious, right? It's too obvious what's going on here. We have to indict him, right? The corruption is too in your face, okay? So that's what's happening here. Again, and this is a very, very fascinating situation that I want to talk about because, again, this guy allegedly accepted payments that include cash, gold, payments towards his home mortgage, compensation for low or no-show jobs, a luxury vehicle, and other things of value between 2018 and 2022. Allegedly. Again, I'm just saying, this sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Okay, it sounds very, very, very familiar. But what I found to be particularly interesting about the gifts that he accepted, the bribes that he accepted, was the gold bars, which, you know, hey, I'm not surprised that Senator Bob Menendez sees the value of gold. And I'm here to tell you guys that you can actually get access to gold without accepting bribes. And that's why the sponsor of this video is Noble Gold. Do you want to take control of your financial future, but you don't know where to start? Well, trust me, Noble Gold understands. Investing in precious metals may sound confusing, but the team at Noble Gold Investments makes it easy. Let's hear from actual Noble Gold investment customers. Quote, the staff answer all my questions and help me every step of the way. Quote, no pressure, sales tactics, just honest guidance. Quote, securing my future is less stressful thanks to Noble Gold's expertise. Don't settle for financial uncertainty. They'll suggest options to see if you can diversify into gold and silver. And right now, Noble Gold Investments is offering a free 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful bullion coin for qualifying accounts and rollovers. Don't settle for financial uncertainty. Noble Gold Investments has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and countless of 5-star reviews. So why wait? Go to noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. The only gold company I trust. And just remember, there's a risk with every investment and there's no guarantee of any kind.
We do have breaking news that will have ripple effects in Washington and beyond. New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez, who is the chair of the
House Foreign Relations
Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He's being charged with corruption-related charges for the second time in 10 years. He was charged, indicted before, and there was a hung jury, and now he's being charged again for something completely different. Let's get right to Kara Scannell for the details on this. Kara, what are you learning?
Yeah, John, so the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Lower Manhattan has announced that they have brought bribery charges against Senator Menendez and his wife. Now, according to the prosecutor's office, that they allege that Menendez's wife had received hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes that they had then used to help 3 New Jersey businessmen and the government of Egypt. This investigation has been going on for several years, and sources have told CNN that they have sent out reams of subpoenas to people seeking information about some of these businessmen and these relationships. Now, one of the businessmen is someone who has known Menendez's wife for a long time. He is someone that had obtained the exclusive right to export and certify halal meat to Egypt. That has been a focus of this investigation. And another one of the businessmen is a New Jersey developer, and prosecutors were asking questions about him, his communications with the senator and his wife. So as you said, though, this is the second time in 10 years that Senator Menendez has been charged with bribery and corruption.
It's going to create a serious problem for the Democrats. This is a razor-thin Senate. He's going to have to continue in his position. They can't afford to lose his vote. And so in the middle of an impeachment inquiry into the president, you're going to have a sitting senator who's facing these colossal criminal charges coming out of the Southern District of New York.
Professor, when you look at the accusations, accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes, cash, gold, payments toward a home mortgage, a luxury vehicle, these are physical matters here that you can really point to and say, here's the evidence. Now, in your experience, how do you defend yourself against a claim like that?
Well, Bill, you really put your finger on the shocking aspect of this. This town it floats on a sea of corruption, but it tends to be a little more finesse than you see here. You know, usually these are not direct payments, direct goods, direct benefits of this kind. This is why I call this sort of a classic bribery allegation. It's rare that you see this type of series of gifts going to a major politician. What's really particularly breathtaking is that Menendez just barely dodged this bullet 6 years ago. So you would think that he and his family would avoid even the suggestion of any influence peddling or bribery in connection with his office. But according to the Southern District of New York, after they dodged that bullet, they were open for business. I mean, this is an extensive series of benefits accrued, according to the prosecutors, in exchange for public favors.
That would appear to be the case. Yeah, and we'll see what they say in an hour when the press conference gets underway in Lower Manhattan.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. And again, guys, I just can't help but just think about how similar this is to the accusations against Joe Biden, okay? Here we have pictures of Bob Menendez with the Egyptian officials, okay? You have text messages, right? Text message exchanges that are cited in here. You have pictures of, the gold bars that he accepted, the cash, right? I mean, you got the vehicles, okay? You got all types of stuff, okay? Him having, these lunches and, dinners and stuff like that. Again, sounds very, very, very familiar. For example, I want to read this short part here about their visit to Egypt, in which there was a pay-to-play scandal going on there. That's how they set up. Let's read this. Again, I want you guys to understand how familiar this sounds. In or about the fall of 2021, Nadine Menendez communicated directly with Egyptian official 4 to arrange a trip for Menendez and Nadine Menendez to Egypt, which they took in or about October 2021, Nadine Menendez, an Egyptian official 4, originally planned the trip as an unofficial visit and therefore without supervision from the State Department. When an SFRC staffer contacted the U.S. Embassy in Cairo regarding the trip, causing the planned trip to become a formal congressional delegation under the supervision of the State Department, Egyptian official 4 texted Nadine Menendez, quote, "I will probably lose my job," in SOS, aka the feds are watching, right? The feds are watching, okay? Nadine Menendez forwarded this text to Menendez. Hannah was also in Egypt during Menendez's and Nadine Menendez's trip, and they met for at least one dinner while there. During that trip, Menendez and Nadine Menendez also met with multiple Egyptian officials, including for a private dinner at the home of Egyptian official 5, a photo of which is below. In or about January 2022, Menendez sent Nadine Menendez a link to a news article reporting on 2 pending foreign military sales to Egypt totaling approximately $2.5 billion. Nadine Menendez forwarded this link to Hannah, writing, "Bob had to sign off on this." In exchange for the promises and acts set forth above, Wael Hannah, aka Will Hannah, and Fred Davies, okay, these are the business partners, right? The defendants provided multiple things of value to Robert Menendez and Nadine Menendez, aka Nadine Arcelinian. The defendants, including the assistance of Jose Urbab, the defendant. Those things of value include hundreds of thousands of dollars in checks, cash, and gold, some of which was discovered during the June 2022 court-authorized search of the residence of Menendez and Nadine Menendez described above. Nadine Menendez caused some of the gold to be sold in Manhattan prior to the search and deposited the proceeds into bank accounts she controlled. Yeah, so again, what you have here is classic pay to play. Now, again, they allege that, hey, there's no evidence against Joe, except it seems to me that in this indictment, this federal indictment, they're using things as evidence that the mainstream liberal media is saying is not evidence against Joe Biden, right? Including pictures, text messages. Okay, we have Joe Biden literally talking about how he pressured Ukraine to fire the special prosecutor investigating Burisma, okay, or else he was going to withhold taxpayer funds from the country. Again, we have all types of evidence, okay? We got all types of evidence. But again, when it comes to Joe Biden, that's not really evidence when it comes to this Democrat right here. What you're saying is circumstantial evidence that they're using, okay? But I think the big difference is that with this guy, they actually have direct evidence of him actually receiving the money, of the sitting senator receiving the money, okay? And that is why the GOP is essentially trying to look for that direct evidence of Biden receiving the money, which I think eventually they will get. But let's actually listen to the Fed's case against Bob Menendez.
Now, let me say a little bit more about the conduct that's alleged in the indictment. The indictment alleges that Senator Menendez took several actions as part of this corrupt relationship. First, the indictment alleges that Senator Menendez used his power and influence, including his leadership role on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, to benefit the government of Egypt in various ways. Among other actions, Senator Menendez allegedly provided sensitive, non-public U.S. government information to Egyptian officials and otherwise took steps to secretly aid the government of Egypt. We also allege that Senator Menendez improperly pressured a senior official at the U.S. Department of Agriculture to protect a lucrative monopoly that the government of Egypt had awarded to Hannah, a lucrative monopoly that Hannah then used to fund certain bribe payments. Second, the indictment alleges that Senator Menendez used his power and influence to try to disrupt a criminal investigation and prosecution undertaken by the New Jersey Attorney General's office related to an associate and a relative of Uribe. Third, the indictment alleges that Senator Menendez used his power and influence to try to disrupt a federal prosecution of Davies in the District of New Jersey in 2 ways. First, by seeking to install a United States attorney who he thought could be influenced with respect to Davies. And second, by trying to influence that office to act favorably in Davies' case.
Again, how does this not all sound so familiar to some of the accusations against Biden, right? I'm just saying. I just find it fascinating how all these things, again, are similar accusations against Joe. We have evidence, right? Circumstantial evidence that, again, this was happening. But the mainstream liberal media screamed, no evidence, right? No evidence. But yet you hear these federal prosecutors saying some similar things that the media says is no evidence against Joe as evidence against this guy, Bob Menendez. Now, again, I get the difference, right? I get the difference. But I'm just saying, it just sounds so familiar, okay? It really does.
And as we allege in the indictment, the senator agreed to do these things and use his power in this way because Hannah was paying bribes, because Uribe was paying bribes, and because Davies was paying bribes. Fortunately, the public officials the senator sought to influence did not bend to the pressure. That's a good thing. Now, as part of this investigation, special agents with the FBI executed search warrants on the residence and safe deposit box of Senator Menendez and Nadine Menendez in New Jersey. When they got there, they discovered approximately $500,000 of cash stuffed into envelopes and closets. Some of the cash was stuffed in the senator's jacket pockets. And some of the envelopes of cash contained Davies' fingerprints or Davies' DNA. That's not all. Agents also discovered a lot of gold that was provided by Davies and Hannah. And the FBI, of course, found the Mercedes-Benz that Uribe had provided them. Now, the items that the FBI uncovered are discussed in the indictment, which I encourage all of you to read carefully. Let's take a look at just some of the items. So as you can see here, this is the Mercedes-Benz that we allege that Uribe provided as part of the scheme. What you see here are 3 kilograms of gold. These 3 kilograms together are worth approximately $150,000.
Wow.
And of course, here you can see just a fraction of the cash that was uncovered as part of the scheme. Now, I want to make a couple of things very clear. First, my office remains firmly committed to rooting out public corruption without fear or favor and without any regard to partisan politics. That's in our DNA. Always has been, always will be. And second, this investigation is very much ongoing. We are not done.
So you seen that, you heard that. Okay, you guys get the gist of what's happening here, right? I actually think they're gonna go after the guy. Like, I think that they're going to try to take him down, and the reason why is because it's too obvious, right? When you are moving that recklessly, okay, the feds have no choice but to go after you. Okay, I 100% believe that the feds in the Department of Justice, they are weaponized, okay? But you got to understand there's levels to it, okay? That doesn't mean that you can just get away with open corruption like this guy. You got to move a little bit more slick, right? You got to open up a ton of shell companies, okay, and move the money in ways that, you know, is not super obvious, okay, and through your son, right? You got to do it like that, okay? You can't just operate the way that this guy was operating, basically through his wife, and so directly and so out in the open, right? And I guess that's the difference, right? That's the difference. But I'm just saying, this sounds very familiar to some of the accusations against Biden. And I would like to see all these politicians held accountable for this type of corruption. So hopefully we'll see something similar happen to Joe Biden. But I highly doubt it, okay? I think this guy is taking a fall partially because he was just so reckless about it, and also because I think that they do stuff like this in order to try to, you know, make it seem like, okay, look, we're going after a Democrat, right? A Democrat is facing punishment for corruption. Look, this is proof that, you know, we're not partisan. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.